calm down, cause he just wanna learn something, so I teach him something. I am the one that teach.
Call me 10 wins and 20.
That there was nobody to my right and nobody to my left. So I was going to talk about that or get into that. If anybody is interested in that, I will kind of talk about that. And that's going to be mostly a talk about honesty or truth. And, you know, with that discussion comes the inevitable discussion about dishonest people or liars. So sadly, I have been bitch slapped. And let me just apologize first and foremost here for the following segment that may be disorganized. It may be me tripping over my words. It may be me getting sentimental or emotional a little bit. I won't cry on the radio, so I will certainly just be quiet. And if you hear quiet, that's probably what's going on. But this is difficult. So, I mean, really, like I said, I've been bitch slapped by truth or by a dishonest person. And it so happened that that particular dishonest person was the one person I never expected it to be. And so perhaps it's a learning experience for people, because for me it was. And, you know, I spent the last 3 or 4 years pointing out liars, pointing out frauds. And I continue to say that liars have wrecked the world. And in my case, liars have, you know, wrecked the world for sure, and also wrecked my marriage. So I apologize if I sound, like I said, jumpy, or if I'm here and there, you know, because I'm winging this. I have nothing prepared other than, you know, truth, shooting from the heart. And it's probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to speak on. And truly, you know, I just don't know now. I just don't know how to really say it. You know, I'm not going to, like I said, not going to cry on the radio. So forgive me if there is moments where I just shut up. But, you know, you just have to wait it out. It's really taken me this past week to even be able to talk about it. And I think it's important to remain as I have since day one, at least day one on YouTube and day one kind of in the public eye. And that's because I came out and said I thought truth was important. Once I realized that the negatives of the world were all based on lies, and that I thought religion was based on lies, and everywhere I looked, I saw lies. And so I just started to speak out about it, made a channel called Jeranism, which was like meism. If your name is John, you would be Johnism. If your name is Becky, you'd be Beckyism, whatever. And it just meant trusting yourself and not putting faith in other people. And these last 3 or 4 years, I have moved forward and just trying to keep that as my focus, as remaining truthful as I have these last few years. And I figured things will work themselves out because I know that's the right thing to do. And I know that being dishonest or lying is never going to be beneficial, you know, to anyone. It's just going to end up coming back and biting you in the butt. Now, in that journey, I've had Missa with me, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. You know, we met 10 years ago. She was not at first somebody that I would ever have thought I would have married, but that love grew and grew to the point where at that time when I met her, I would have probably bet anybody I would never get married. I was a single father. I became a single father at 20 years old. So I had my son with me 24 hours a day, or, you know, not when I was working, but I mean, I was his sole care provider. And so I just didn't think it was ever going to be at a place where I would meet somebody that would take on my son as well as myself. It was just easier for me to be single. It was just easier to date women and just kind of enjoy them. And that was basically it. When I met Missa, things started to change a little bit, or a lot bit. And she quickly became somebody that was more than a friend. She quickly became somebody who was great with my son. And, you know, I started to see it as a possibility that, you know, she could be more. And really, it was her that changed my mind about marriage, that I thought it was possible, because we had this weird relationship from the beginning that really started with the idea of honesty. And we had both been in tons of relationships before. And we had both been through watching our parents split up. You know, her mom found out very late in their marriage that her dad had cheated some unknown amount of times. Same thing had happened in my family. My mom had found that my dad had cheated at a very young age. For me, I was around 3 years old, and my dad cheated. And they stayed together for the kids. And then when I was about 16 or 17, my mom and dad got divorced, and my dad married a new wife, and my mom married a new husband. And I looked at that, and I kind of could figure why. And first of all, I saw, or I knew, once I found out that my dad had cheated, because I didn't know that for obviously years, and no one told me when you're 12 or something, you don't find that out. But after, when I found out that my dad had cheated at such a young age for me, I could see then that my parents never really had that true love. Something I noticed, but I guess never really verbalized or never really said, because it was just something that I thought that was their marriage. Their marriage was what it was. That's what I saw. But there was really no love there. It was just kind of like an arrangement. My dad went to work. My mom stayed home. My dad get home from work. He'd sit on the couch, and my mom would come by and bitch about him not doing the dishes or bitch about something. And it was like a nag. And I saw that. And I saw that my dad worked hard. Not saying that I saw that he was great to her. I didn't see that. I saw that he was very matter of fact, go to work, but he did get up at like 6 a.m. every day and not get home till 6 or 7. And he would hit the couch, as I think anybody would, and just kick back, take his shoes off. And there was my mom saying something about not helping with dinner or not setting the table or whatever. And so I just saw this nagging relationship. So when I found out that it had ended, obviously it wasn't a surprise to me. And so I just we all shape ourselves around what we see, right? And so I just knew that if I ever were to be in a relationship, I would want it to be much different. And so when Missa came along and had basically the same story, as we started talking more and more about the possibility of maybe her even moving in, one of the things that was so important to me was the idea of truthfulness in a relationship, and that every relationship that I'd ever been in had ended because somebody had lied, somebody had been dishonest. And I said, isn't it easier that we're just honest? That if your girlfriend goes out with her friends, hey, I want to go out dancing with my friends, do you mind? And you say, yeah, go ahead. And she goes out, and while she's out dancing, there's a guy there. And he asks her to dance, and they start dancing together, and they dance there for, 2, 3 songs, 4 songs, whatever. And they're getting along great. But she knows she's got you to go back to, and she doesn't want anything to do with this guy. So she comes home, and you say, how was the night? How did it go? And she says, it was great. We just danced. And you ask her, did you dance with any guys? And she says, nope, just with my friends. And, she's saying that to basically protect you, right? She just doesn't want the baggage that goes with saying, well, yeah, I did dance with this one particular guy. Yeah, I did dance with him 4 times. But in my opinion, there was truth there that should have been told. And if you were in a mutually agreeable relationship to where you understood each other, then hopefully that would be okay with the guy if she got home and said, oh, yeah, I danced. And, did you dance with any guy? Yeah, there's this guy there. He was pretty cool. Danced with him 4 or 5 songs. But that honesty is what could hold a relationship together. Because what happens is if you come home and tell that lie, nope, didn't dance with any guy, okay. And then 3 or 4 days later, you're at work and a buddy comes by and says, oh, I saw your wife the other night at the bar dancing with this guy. Oh, really? A guy? What do you mean, like quick? They were dancing real quick? No. They danced. I think I saw him, 3, 4 songs. So all of a sudden now you've got this predicament where she actually does love you. She actually does care, but she's come across as a liar. You're going to have that distrust in her. You're going to have that distrust in her friends. You're going to have that distrust in her going out when you're not there. And all of a sudden, this relationship is crap. And it's because of dishonesty. It's because of not trusting each other. And so Miss and I wanted to have a relationship that was different. And that was how we initiated things. We said, let's be honest. Let's be truthful about everything we do. And so we were. And at least that's the way that we have been. In the fact that if I find a girl attractive, I'll tell her. If we're just very open. And I think that it allowed us to have a different kind of relationship. We both saw and made fun of or talked about or, at least explored all the other relationships that we saw. And from our parents to our friends, everything. And it was very easy to usually recognize the error in the process. Where did things go wrong? Where did it start to not work out? And so the problem becomes, fast forward many, many, many years, 7 years from the date of our marriage, fast forward to this past Monday, and imagine the slap across the face, the hammer throw, the anvil drop for me to find out that my wife, who I had every faith in the world in, who meant the world to me, I found out that she has been having a extramarital sexual encounter with my best friend. Imagine my shock that, I spend every day pointing out liars, frauds, Richard Branson, George Whitesides, NASA, President Bush. And yet, sleeping in my very bed was someone lying to my face. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. More with Jeranism Monday night, and it doesn't get any rawer than this.